The Amazon River flows eastward into the Atlantic Ocean from its source in the western part of South America. The land through which the Amazon flows is now cut off from the Pacific Ocean to the west by the Andes Mountains. Yet certain freshwater fish that inhabit the Amazon are descended from now extinct saltwater fish known to have inhabited the Pacific Ocean but not the Atlantic. For this reason, some scientists hypothesize that the Amazon River once flowed into the Pacific Ocean. So, which one of the following is true? It's
Okay, so what is our conclusion?
um, freshwater fish that inhabit the Amazon are descended from now extinct saltwater fish known to have inhabited the Pacific Ocean but not the Atlantic.
No, so our conclusion is going to be, for this reason, some scientists hypothesize that the Amazon River once flowed into the Pacific Ocean. And
Okay.
when it says for this reason, what is it? What are we referring to?
The conclusion.
No, we're saying for this reason, we have this conclusion, or we're hypothesizing.
Oh, like presenting the evidence before.
Yes. So we're saying the Amazon River flows eastward into the Atlantic Ocean from its source in the western part of South America. So we're saying like, hey, it flows eastward. This land through which the Amazon flows is now cut off by the Pacific Ocean to the west by the Andes Mountains. So we're saying like we have the Andes Mountains are like cutting it off from where the Amazon flows. Like it can't get to the Pacific Ocean anymore. Yet certain freshwater that inhabit the Amazon are descended from now extinct salt fish known to have inhabited the Pacific Ocean, but not the Atlantic. So we're saying, hey, but for some reason we have these fish that are in the Amazon, but they came from a different fish that was in the Pacific, but not the Atlantic. And we're saying
Okay.
this is why we're saying that, hey, the Amazon River once flowed into the Pacific Ocean. Because, like the fish, this ancestor fish was found in the Pacific Ocean, and now this fish ancestries or whatever are in the Amazon. So we're going to try to find what kind of question is this?
So must be true.
No. So what is it asking us to do?
Assumption.
Nope. Okay. So it's actually, I think you're overthinking it. So it's saying which of the following, if true, provides additional evidence in support of the hypothesis. So it's just going to be a strengthen question.
Okay.
We just want to strengthen this hypothesis here. And so can you predict what would strengthen the idea that the Amazon River once flowed into the Pacific Ocean?
There was land there. I don't know.
Well, maybe that this fish has only ever been in the Pacific Ocean or something like that, because they're descended from this now extinct saltwater fish that inhabited the Pacific Ocean, but not the Atlantic. So maybe like somehow we have to show that this fish got into the Amazon. All right, so go ahead and start with A and tell me if you like it, leave it, or hate it.
In many cases, species of freshwater and saltwater fish that share certain characteristics do not, in fact, share a common ancestor.
Do you like that one or not?
I like it.
How does that help strengthen the idea that the Amazon River once flowed into the Pacific Ocean?
I think that doesn't, but maybe.
No, I don't think it does anything, right? It's kind of telling us like, hey, like we're trying to say that this, like, if anything, it would weaken it that they don't share a common ancestor, but it does nothing to show us that the Amazon River once flowed into the Pacific Ocean. Just because these people do not share a common ancestor, it's like, okay, who cares?
Most of the fossilized remains of the now extinct saltwater fish from the Pacific Ocean date to a period prior to no.
Most of the fossil remains of the now extinct saltwater fish. So this is saying that that this fish was there before the Andes Mountain. Does that matter? Let's skip over B for a second and go down to C.
Many species of fish that inhabit the Atlantic Ocean are related to species that are known to inhabit the Pacific Ocean. So would that be flipped?
Yeah. Well, and one, they're saying that many species of fish that inhabit the Atlantic Ocean are related to species that are known to inhabit the Pacific, but that's doing nothing to tell us about this Amazon River.
Yeah.
And we know that this fish was not in the Atlantic, so it's kind of like irrelevant.
The Andes Mountains extend from the northernmost to the southernmost extremes of the South American continent. No.
No, because that doesn't show us, like, we're trying to say that, hey, essentially we have the Atlantic Ocean. Hold on, I'm gonna see. This is gonna be like so bad and not geographically correct, but essentially we have the let's say we have the Atlantic Ocean and we have the Pacific Ocean, and then we have like we have like land here, right?
Yeah.
And then we have, okay, so what did I say? This is the Atlantic, this is the Pacific, and then let's say that we used to have like this river that goes through. Well, we're saying in our picture here that the Amazon flows now cut off from the Pacific by the Andes Mountain. So we now have like this mountain range here that cuts it off. So this river can't get over here. And so does it matter if the Andes like are from like the very top to the bottom? Does that matter at all?
No.
No. And it's like, still, that doesn't show us that the Amazon River, we're trying to say that this river here at one point did flow to the Pacific Ocean. That's what we're trying to prove. All right, what about E?
There are very few fish species that are known to be able to survive in both fresh and salt water. No.
No. Okay. So why do you think, I know you said no to B originally, but why do you think that that could be the right answer?
So now looking at it, I would say because of the fossilized remains of the now extinct saltwater fish from the Pacific Ocean. So that would give background information that would support it.
Well,
and strengthen it.
The big thing is that it was a period prior to the Andes Mountains. We're saying that this fish that descended from a now extinct saltwater fish, we're saying that like most of them died off before these mountains even formed.
Okay.
And so our the confusing part is we have this new fish that descended from this extinct fish, and but our fish only lives over here, but we're trying to say that it is an ancestor of a fish from over here. And so if all of the remains come from are found before the mountains formed, then it helps strengthen the idea that the river once flowed to both of them.
Yeah.
Do you see why B is the correct answer?
Yeah, I see it.
Awesome.